This is true. Okay, you're one of those people, they always know everything that's true, whether it is or not. Last, it becomes a behavior, so I'm going to attack him with criticism. All because you're convinced that he's not paying attention to you. And so what we think matters, because what we think will change what we believe. And what we believe will change our convictions, and next thing you know, our behavior. So if you want to change how you behave, you have to change how you think. It's not the other way around. You don't go and all of a sudden, I'm going to go on a diet. You have to change the way you think about food in order to have the diet work. For you and I, what we develop is these destructive ways of behaving. Okay? And they're not pleasant. I've got them. Maybe you do. And what ends up happening is they become totally unproductive. And so what it does is it hinders our ability to have intimacy in our marriage, because we're just in this cyclone and we can't get out of it. And we don't know what to do. And I'm telling you, the Bible says the way to get out of it is to change the way that you think. Because if you change the way you think, it'll change what you believe, and it'll change the way that you behave. There are all kinds of pressures. This is one of my favorite ones. I've only done this like probably 100,000 times. Performance pressure. In other words, this would be the younger version of this, like adolescent would be, you know what, if you break up with me, I'm going to kill myself. It's manipulation. I can control what you do back by what I tell you I'm going to do. For example, if I walk up and hug my wife, what do I want her to do back? I want her to hug me back, right? So if I walk in, if we're having a big argument, and I look at my wife and I say to her, you know what, I'm sorry, I was wrong, that's nice. But if my motivation is to get her to say the same thing, then that's not good. That's pressure. It's pressure to perform, get her to do what I want her to do. And it's a form of manipulation. Another one is just flat-out poor communication skills. A couple of Wednesday nights we talked about this. It's the sentence, he did not say he did not kill his wife. He did not say he did not kill his wife. He didn't say he did not kill his wife. He did not say. And every one of those words becomes a whole different sentence. And I don't know if you have this at your house or not, but I'm telling you what, my wife and I will argue that the sun sets in the west. Okay? And it's just because sometimes we just see things differently, or we say words that the other person hears differently. Okay? If I look at my wife and say, man, you look fat. But I meant P-H-A-T. You look fat. Okay? So what happens if that comes across in a text message? You see what I'm saying? Poor communication, not paying attention to specific words. Which way do I turn to go to your house? Turn right. We tried this yesterday with my brother-in-law. He ended up on Chickasaw Trail going west, but he should have gone east. The correct answer would be turn east. That's the only answer that's always right. Turn right because the highway doesn't loop around. So you see, clear communication matters. And you have to specifically say what you mean, and you have to mean what you say. That's why the person listening has to say, so what I hear you saying is, and the other person has the right to say, no, that's not what I meant. And this is what I meant. Now this conversation could go for 20 minutes just to buy a cheeseburger with no onions, okay? But it's important that we communicate clearly, because it puts a lot of pressure on people when we have to guess what you mean. You want to go to a movie? Yeah? Okay. What does that mean? Where do you want to go to eat? I don't care. Okay? My wife always heard that I don't care to go to eat with her. That's what she heard. Okay? So it's not important what I meant. What's really important is what she hears. And those of us that are really bad at communicating, the other person, would you please help us by saying, so what I hear you say is, give us a chance to redeem ourselves. In my house, that takes 20 minutes to get a cheeseburger with no onion. Okay? And then there are sexual struggles. And this doesn't mean intimacy. What this means is that the next thing you know, you start counting and comparing yourself to the national average. Because you see sex as something that you own instead of something that you share. Sex is not something to barter and trade. Sex is not something that you can count. Sex is something that you share with someone. And the next thing you know, whereas, you know what, I'll tell you what, if you get the lawn mowed and you get the whole house cleaned, then woo-hoo, that's manipulation. That's manipulation. It is. Guys, If we take the lady out, buy her gifts and all that, so woohoo! That's manipulation. That's manipulation. And it puts an unbelievable amount of pressure on people. Unbelievable. Some of us were brought up in homes where we didn't get any attention, we didn't get any affirmation. We were, too fat, too short, too stupid. Why can't you be like your brother? Whatever your issue was, or the people that you know. And some people are raised in an environment like that, and truthfully, some of these people don't even have the capacity, the ability to even know how to feel intimate. Because they never saw it, and they never experienced it as a child. And so those of you that are married to somebody like that, or were married, maybe you can understand why it would be hard for them to get close, because they were never close to the people that should love them the most. And not only that, but these people have this insatiable need for attention. But what happens is, as the people continue to disappoint them throughout relationships, they keep running from relationship to job, to church, to whatever, because they're looking for this attention, but they don't know how to accept it, because they've never learned how to accept it, because they've never received it. And so it's actually uncomfortable for them, even though it's what they want. It is a very weird a dichotomy that really seems like it would work against itself. I really want attention, but when I get it, then I don't like it. But I don't like it because I don't know how to deal with it. But then if I don't get it, then I want it. And it's a circle that just eats people up. It eats people alive. What's really interesting about some of these people is that if their spouse were to get really close with them, okay, really close to them, they might not be able to truly connect, because what people in this particular mindset really want is to be parented. They want to be told what to do. They don't want to have to make a decision for themselves, because they missed out on true parenting when they were children. I didn't have anybody that loved me unconditionally. And so they're still looking for a parent figure to come into their life. And not only that, but if somebody snuggles up close to them, they're often resistant of that, because I'm afraid that if you really know me, you won't really like me. Because nobody's loved them unconditionally. This is one of the great fears of American people right here. If you really knew me, you wouldn't like me. And a lot of it probably goes back to the way we were raised, in the way we were brought up as children, and in the culture that we were brought up at home. Okay, if you were raised in a very positive place where you're the man, you can do anything, you should go out for the play, you should go out for the band, you should go out for football, I know you can do it, okay, then you probably grew up with real healthy thinking about yourself. Realizing that the world was yours, if you wanted it. That was some of us. Some of us grew up in a community like that. And if you did, you're fortunate. Okay, so you grew up and you were able to develop healthy interactive skills and the opportunities to think maturely about yourself as well as your circumstance. Okay, but these people are the ones who eventually they grow up and you felt like this. I love this slide. What it says is, these people grow up to produce positive behaviors like kindness, consideration, generosity, and a desire for excellence. Isn't that what Romans 12 said? Is that really what it said? And isn't that what 1 Corinthians 13 says? Okay, people that are brought up in a healthy environment have much greater chance of becoming the kind of people that God wants us to be, because they've learned it's not all about me. Very few of us grow up in an environment like that. That's the sad part. So you've got a healthy self-image. Self-image is different than self-esteem. Self-esteem is, do I have value to the world, and why do I have value? Self-image is, how do you see yourself? And self-image is not what you think about you, it's what you think other people think about you. Okay, so if other people think you're the cat's meow, then you probably think that too. It might not be true, but that's the picture you have of yourself. Okay? So self-image, a healthy self-image, it matters. So think about your relationships with your kids. The way you love on them, the way you support them, the way you encourage them, the way you love them unconditionally. Not for what they do, but for who they are. Matters. Because it helps them become mature young people and ultimately adults. If your childhood where you grew up, where you were neglected or ignored or devalued or put down or shamed, then you probably grew up thinking you were a failure. Or that you would never measure up. And the weird part is, for people growing up in the Christian world, Christian environment, maybe really healthy, but you may still have those same feelings. That you'll never measure up spiritually. You'll never measure up, because you're never going to be perfect. Because God says,